Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. How is everyone today? Hope you're well. This is just a quick live vlog just to catch up on certainly the events of last night for certain, and that was obviously the Raheem Sterling, the Tyrone Mings, Marcus Rashford, and all the others who were targeted last night by England. For England by Bulgaria fans, and also we'll look at the latest sort of news that's around today, and we'll chat about KDB and John Stones being back, which is good news. Hopefully they're ready for selection for Saturday's game, evening kickoff against Palace. We'll talk about Eric Garcia. Excuse me. He's had some. He's made some comments about his move. He was asked in an interview about. Does he regret moving from Barcelona to Manchester City? And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Cablar Soyuncu. There's been obviously more chatter about him today, though I'd be very surprised if that does happen, if I'm being honest with you. We'll also look at the comments back by, certainly on Twitter, by Raheem Sterling last night. So some of them were quite funny, but obviously not a funny issue, if I'm being honest with you. And have your thoughts with regards to what were your thoughts about last night? Excuse me, I have a sore throat. What were your thoughts about last night, and what was going on out in Sofia? I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter. There's been a lot of City fans discussing it today, some claiming that this is not like Bulgarian fans to be doing this. Others saying that this is definitely a problem within Eastern Europe, let's say, and just disconnect that before it starts going off. And others saying it is a problem in Eastern Europe. Now, as you know, I travel extensively throughout Eastern Europe as part of my job, and I've got lots of good friends that live in Eastern Europe in all different types of countries, from anywhere towards the borders of Soviet Union, in places like Latvia and Slovakia, Estonia, and Lithuania and places like that. I've been to Bulgaria loads and loads of times over the last 3 years, training individuals out there. So I've got a bit of a handle on the people that are in those regions. But what are your thoughts on it? Noah Donis is on. Hey Andy, how are you? Dank City, Big Forehead, how are you, buddy? You've not been on for a while. Hope you're well. EF Productions is on. Need to get a grip of it. Bad guitarist, Andy. What is that? I'm a bad guitarist. It's a bit of a joke with the guitar in the background there. But if you're a bad guitarist, you're going to be better than me, mate. Because I don't play it. But I need to learn, because, as we said, I might play a quick riff when we hit the 10K, which we're not that far off from doing now. But how is Andy Marr these days? Rubbish. I haven't even picked it up. I've been too busy, mate. I've had really busy sort of like couple of days with regards to business stuff and things. So Martin picked up the vlog last night. If you haven't seen it, go over and watch that. I'm back on today to give him a bit of a break, and then he'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Thursday, and Martin will be back on Friday. Fair play to Sterling, though. Yeah, he made some good comments, which we'll talk about. What do you think is going wrong with Man City in the moment in the Premier League? Going wrong? Well, I mean, I'm sure the first thing you've got to look at is obviously the injuries. You can also look at it in the respect we've lost not only a fantastic captain, but a brilliant leader in Vincent Kompany, and I'm not sure anybody has really stepped up yet to take over that role. Lots of reasons, though I do think injuries are obviously the main problem, if I'm being honest. Obviously losing the likes of Mendy's been in and out again this season. Laporte's out on long-term injury. John Stones has been out. We lost Kevin De Bruyne for a couple of games against Zagreb and against Wolves. Leroy Sané's been out all season. You know, the likes of Sané was one of those players that we could always bring on in the last 15, 20 minutes of games and possibly get something back. But we have missed them. We've had people like Mahrez who have had a couple of really good games and then not so much. Raheem Sterling has been a good start, but then sort of drifted off lately. Bernardo Silva's been in and out of form since the whole Benjamin Mendy tweet. So maybe the fact of, as many City fans say, we should have bought a centre-back in the summer, and we didn't, and maybe that's a problem as well. So I think it's a culmination of things. Are they getting complacent? I'd be very surprised at that argument because I'm not sure Pep's one to allow complacency, if I'm being honest. But anyway, back to your comments. Cal Blundell, hey Andy, disgusting what happened yesterday and gutted today. Bought a sausage roll and my girlfriend ate it. She's going to be trading with again. You bought a sausage roll and she ate it. What's it? She'd just grab it off you or something like that, Cal. Bad guitarist. I'm average, to be honest. Just thought it was a catchy name. Listen, if you're average, you're far better than me. So don't worry about that. I'm sure you're just being polite and you're actually pretty decent. So maybe you'll offer me some guitar lessons. EF Production says, did you hear England fans held 45 minutes due to the Bulgarian fans waiting for the England fans outside? A 60-year-old man and his son got beat up on the way to their hotel. I haven't read much about that type of stuff. I know there was trouble outside the ground. I do know that a British man, they haven't named them, they haven't given, as far as I know, I haven't read it from this morning, but I do know that there's been a British man died who was in police custody or being transported on the way to police custody, and he's died, but we're waiting to hear more about that, whether that's an incident that's happened and they've transported him off to the hospital or the police station and something's happened in the back of the van, or whether something has happened in the back of the van, who knows. But I know, reading some of the social media tweets last night, there were people saying that in their hotel they saw England fans walking in, 2s and 3s of them, with blood pouring out of head wounds and facial wounds. So it seems like there were trouble, certainly after the game. You can't just isolate that to Bulgarian fans, though, because that happens. It does happen quite often where international fans are targeted by overseas fans, and I'm sure it happens around the streets of Wembley, if I'm honest. I heard Aguero could be out for a bit. Any truth in that? No, I think he's okay. He's obviously. I don't think it's been an injury that has suddenly appeared. I think it's one where, if you watch some of the live vlogs, and maybe you haven't watched the live vlogs we've done over the last 4 or 5 days talking about Sergio, there was talk from the Argentinian coach saying he's been carrying a niggle and not being able to train at 100% so far for City this season, hence why he wasn't picked for the Argentina squad. So I don't think it's an injury per se like Kevin De Bruyne's was an injury in John Stones. I think it's just one of those where he's having to be managed very carefully when he trains because he is carrying a knock of sorts. Noah Donis says Laporte is a great centre-back, but he's error mistake prone. Laporte? You know about Aymeric Laporte's? Must admit, I've watched pretty much every City game for the last 2 years, and I can count on one hand, let's say, any mistakes that he's made. He's made the odd Rick from a defensive point of view, but on the whole, he's been absolutely superb. He's right up there, in my opinion, as one of the best defenders in world football. So I'm not sure I don't know where you're getting his error mistake prone. Not for me. EF Productions, yes, rest in peace to that fan. Yeah, I mean, we don't know. We don't know whether that's because of any incidents that occurred, or it might have been natural causes. We don't know, but it's not good anyway. You don't want to see it. And we knew it was going to happen. Racism ruins football, says Cal. Martin says, afternoon all, how are you this afternoon? EF says, Palace fans and Brighton fans scrapping between each other also. It happens most games, maybe this time away from the stadiums, because we tend to have a real big police and stewarding presence outside Premier League games around the stadiums and things like that. So if it does happen, it tends to happen away from the stadium, which means it's less reported. Hi, Martin says, Dance City, Calm. If my girlfriend steals it again, I'll be doing an Otamendi tackle. Be careful. EF, all right, Martin. Martin says, hi, Dance City, EF production. Cal, what tackle? Yeah, yeah. What, you mean you just dive in and miss her completely? And she just jinks out the way with a sausage roll in her hand. Martin, how was the takeaway yesterday? No Adonis, yes, Laporte, Cough, Spurs, quarterfinal. Oh, you're talking about one game. One game, come on. My Lord, you name me another player. All right, well, I'll tell you what. No Adonis. Who for you is the best player you've ever seen? Ever. Answer that question first. The best player you've ever seen in your lifetime. William Graham, your new mate. Welcome to the channel. The lads seem tired. And why is Phil Foden not getting a run, especially for England? He's 10 times a player of some of Southgate's picks. The kid needs game time. City till we die. It's one of those. It's a difficult one. We've discussed it at length, the whole Phil Foden thing, over the last sort of week with regards to it. It is a difficult one. I've no idea. I think he needs more game time. I think he'll probably get more games. But we'll wait and see. We'll see what Pep. We've got to trust in Pep. You know, Pep's not only looking out for the team, but he's also obviously looking out for Phil Foden's development path as well. So, does he need more? You know, at the end of the day, if we would have won, if we would have, let's say, if we would have beat Norwich, which we should have won the Spurs game. And if we would have drawn or got beat or beat Wolves, nobody would be saying Phil Foden needs to be picked and things. But it's the fact of, we've lost those two games. We drew against Spurs. Suddenly, people are desperate. City fans are desperate for Foden, and I'm one of those. I think he needs more game time, and he deserves to be at least tried. If I'm being honest. EF, nobody should go to football and never return home. I totally agree. Kids had a great tea, thank you, says Martin. No Adonis, just saying, in my opinion. Sorry. Carl, Martin, where was my takeaway? Carl, I agree, Mangala better than Laporte. Yeah, right. In my opinion, Ronaldo, the Brazilian, the GOAT, in my opinion. So you're telling me Ronaldo has never had a poor game? He's had some absolute shockers for Juventus, for Real Madrid, for Man United. Absolute shockers where he just didn't turn up. So are we going to pick on Ronaldo now? And this is my point. It's just because a player makes a mistake. Players are not robots that can't go through games 100% perfect. And it's funny how City fans have just gone on this massive downer again with Otamendi. Otamendi has the most successful passing completion rate in the Premier League this season. Maradona, for me, it wasn't really what question to everyone. It was more to Noah about, isolating, picking your favourite player and then basically saying, well, yeah, do you not remember that game he had such and such a Champions League where he was crap, or where he was this or another? Pele, Messi, or Cal says, Pele, Messi, Ronaldo, Ibrahimovic, Aguero, and Suarez, and Torres, and Henry, and Eusebio are better than... oh, you are kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. No chance. Ibrahimovic is better than the original Ronaldo. What planet are you on, mate? The original Ronaldo was absolutely phenomenal. Carbon Dell, the last 5 years of Fat Ronaldo career was shocking. Well, yeah, because he'd almost retired due to injuries. on his day, absolutely phenomenal player. Don't know a player not to have played bad. Exactly, Craig. Sanjay J, did you hear what about last night in the England game? Did I hear what, mate? Martin, I will be in and out, guys, just at dots. My apologies. Karl Ibrahimovic's goal scoring, scored 300 goals since turning 30. Yeah, in some crap leagues. Hi, Andy. Hope you're good. Yes, Tommy Cocker, be very careful and very good. Ronaldo 9 haircut ruined his career. I must admit, it was pretty bloody shocking, if I'm honest. But anyway, let's get back and have a look at what we're going to talk about today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is obviously last night. And we know that after the incidents at the game and what was going on, there was some, I don't know what, comments made by Raheem Sterling on Twitter. And there, obviously, Sky Sports were talking about Bulgaria's sports minister says Prime Minister Boyko Borisov has called on the president of the Bulgarian Football Union to resign following the racist abuse of England players. And Ras obviously said, a good move, credits to you, M. Borisov. He made a few other comments with regards to that. And yeah, it's one of those on there. He posted a different tweet, and then this one in particular. Sorry, it's just a slightly bit out of positioning, and that was after the Bulgaria coach Krasimir Balakov accused England of having a bigger racism problem than his own country. And I think if you listen to what he said after the game, where he turned around and says, I didn't hear anything, I didn't hear this, I didn't hear the other. And Raz replied, not sure about this one, Chief. Well, I actually replied to Raz last night, basically saying, be careful of the chief word. You'll be accused of being racist towards to the Indian reservation. So be very, very careful with using the word chief. The way that everybody is just this day and age is got to be very careful with everything that you say. So yeah, some good quotes back. There was also one. I think there was a bit of thing between Piers Morgan and Raz last night, and Raz had replied something back along the lines of thanks for the support, things like that. So it's it wasn't good. It really, really wasn't good, and I'm torn. I must admit, I'm torn on last night for several reasons, and those reasons are pretty much for the last 2 weeks. It's been in and out the media, on TalkSport, in the media itself, and about the fact that obviously Bulgaria had already had this partial stadium ban, and this racism thing, and what England were going to do, and what UEFA guidelines were, and it was almost like building it up to a point of where you just knew something was going to happen. You knew it. Now, was that the right thing to do, or should people have just gone, well, let's just play the game and let's just see? Does the whole UEFA protocols have to be made public for all the media broadcasters, or should that just really be discussed with the team? Step one will be this, step two will be this, then it's up to you, and blah, blah, blah. Or have the media generated this frenzy whereby you're going to, if you advertise it and talk about it for so long, you're going to possibly encourage the, let's say, right-wing, fascist, racist elements, small elements in Bulgaria to attend the game and have a protest against UEFA and obviously do what everyone was talking about. I don't know, it's a weird one. But then again, let's face it, they got a stadium ban, partial stadium ban for the very same thing that happened last night. And I thought the players handled themselves really, really well on that particular incident. And you saw the clips of Tyrone Mings asking an official, what's going on? Did you hear that? You heard him talk very eloquently in the post-match interview. Speaks very, very well. Harry Kane came out maybe don't speak as well as Tyrone Mings. Shame we didn't hear Raz, but then I guess Raz is getting a little bit fed up of being the poster boy and always having to be the person that's a spokesperson. But it was nice to see Marcus Rashford posting a tweet about the Bulgarian captain going over at half-time to the cage, to the fence where the home fans were, and basically pleading with them to stop what they were doing. And we saw that, I don't know how many, 50 or 100 of them were ejected from the stadium, and some of even the home fans were giving them the finger as they were leaving. So, you know, they are a minority, but my one argument against all of this is, and I've seen people on Twitter say, oh yeah, but hold on a minute, you've had, and journalists, you've had Raheem Sterling having the racist abuse at Chelsea. You've had a banana thrown on the pitch at Arsenal. You've had this, you've had that. They weren't, I can't remember the last time I was at any Premier League game where there was 100+ people all making monkey chants. It just has never happened. It just hasn't happened. It's been an isolated incident by one or two individuals, not a group of, let's say, premeditated chanting done there, because you would hear it absolutely clear as day in a Premier League stadium, and you know, Premier League fans, opposition fans, home fans, or whatever, just wouldn't accept it. So, you know, I can't go down that route of, oh, just because we've had one or two isolated incidents in the UK in the Premier League, that suddenly, well, you know, that sort of apportions blame back to us rather than that. That was orchestrated by 100+ people making monkey chants in the stadium. So I don't buy that side of it. I really don't. And then my final point on it was, I thought Ian Wright spoke really well afterwards, and I posted it on Twitter after Greg Clark's interview. And then I think by the time I'd posted it, then Ian Wright had come on, I think just after full time, and said virtually the same thing that I'd said on a tweet. And my tweet, if I can bring it up, I posted last night immediately after I'd listened to Greg Clark from the FA, and I posted, Clark at FA has the perfect opportunity to call out UEFA live on TV. And he said, and these were his words, I know UEFA take racism seriously. That was one of his statements last night. Really? So I posted, no, they don't, mate. Another who pays lip service to at UEFA. Absolutely disgraceful from someone at the top of our footballing community. Spineless. We all know UEFA don't care. And I just wrote, more back covering and social climbing by an FA official. Hang your head in shame for those comments, Clark. And then there's been comments to my tweet last night, but then I went back and watched after the break. Ian Wright said virtually the same thing, said I'm really disappointed with our FA official making statements about, you know, UEFA have, you know, take racism seriously. I just don't get that. But then I saw there was a post-match about half an hour later. They came back on for another half an hour. They didn't show the highlights. They were just solely talking about racism at the game and things like that. And I don't know whether Ian Wright, I copied him into the tweet. I don't know whether Ian Wright had actually someone had a word with him about it. I'm not sure, because he wasn't so vociferous in his complaints about what Greg Clark said. So I thought that was a really spineless. I thought it was an opportunity for Greg Clark to say it's over to UEFA, not to claim that UEFA take racism seriously, because that statement in itself is absolutely ridiculous. We know they don't. We know City have been fined for being a minute late on the pitch, more than what the racist fans who were chanting racist comments in the stadium, their club was fined. So, you know, UEFA don't take it seriously. They really, really don't. But anyway, that's my piece on last night, the whole Raheem Sterling, Marcus Rashford, Tyrone Mings and everything else. I thought that they handled themselves fantastically well. I thought Gareth Southgate spoke really, really well afterwards in his post-match interview. It's difficult. I do understand it's not easy. But what are your thoughts? What do you think? What do you think should happen next to Bulgaria. What do UEFA do about this? And do you think they'll do anything of significant interest, or will it be another fine and a one-match stadium ban? And is that really going to solve the problem? Don Wyman, Chris from Perth here, how are you doing? Pep leaves, do you think some players could leave as well? Maybe not, I doubt it. Because most of the players that were here before Pep. Dawn Foden. Martin says, Tammy Cocker, tut now. Carl says, 3 people died near where I live today. Got shot. A dad and a son and a baby boy. Oh my God, that's terrible. Hey Andy, Sanini Yusuf. Carl Blunder says, Sexy Mangala. GSTQ says, EF. Sorry, mate. You'll have to explain. EF, we're not English, we're Scouse. Literally, those people are running comedy act. Well, certain parts of it. No, Donis. Andy, who do you think is a GOAT? Well, you didn't mention him, so obviously you're not going to be happy with my comment, and that's Lionel Messi. Nigel de Jong says EF. Sterling is a great guy, he is. EF says, because Bulgaria live in the 70s. I don't know. No, Adonis, I still remember when a fan threw a banana at Danny Alves and he just ate it. That's how you fight racism. I think it needs to be a little bit more No Adonis than just that. EF, I'm glad we didn't walk off. Wouldn't achieve anything. Debail says, Bernardo Silva loved what Bulgaria fans did last night. You can go in a timeout, you absolute cotwomble. Carl Blundell, Danny Alves is my favourite ever defender. What more than Roberto Carlos? Not for me. Roberto Carlos miles better. Steph Herringtonio, romance and the Gothic writings. I remember when it was prevalent in England in the 70s and early 80s. Obviously, Bulgaria is still in those particular decades. I remember, Steph. I do. I remember because that was my era and I know what it was like. Oh, he's gone in timeout. I'm only being nice, good, get rid of Dabao. Yeah, I mean, just... Kenwood Garg, hey up Andy, after listening to your thoughts on UEFA, I'm proud of City fans who boo the UEFA Champions League anthem. Well, is it any wonder that some do? And not all do, and maybe more of us did in the early days and less of us so much now, but UEFA are just a disgrace, in my opinion anyway. Have a go at UEFA, not a chance, they won't do that. Got to keep them happy, haven't they? Total spineless cotwombles, says Martin. No, Adonis, it's 2019 and racist is still a problem. It is sad, but that's the way it is, unfortunately. EF Productions, Mings, what a player. Yeah, did really well and spoke really well. Martin says all they do is make them play behind closed doors, which is, we know, means nothing. Absolutely, it doesn't. Mingyi Wong, Bulgaria should be thrown out of the competition, you reckon? Carl Blundell, I can't boo the UEFA theme because my team can't get into Champions League. Yes, they can't, mate. Kenwood says, as for UEFA's reaction to Bulgaria, money talks, so it depends on how much revenue Bulgaria contribute to their coffers. Yes, and it's also about keeping these countries on side with UEFA and FIFA. We know about payments that are being made across the world, and from that we know previously with FIFA and UEFA to keep these people who run it in a job. And it's almost, they bend over backwards for some of these countries because it's another vote next time the voting comes round. So can I honestly see them doing something major with this? I doubt it. I hope they do, but I doubt it. Edward Denham, hi guys, how are you? Cal, did Douglas Luiz play for City? What a player he is. Did he? What are you talking about? He played on a pre-season tour. But yeah, he's getting rave reviews. Edward Denham, what is it with the dippers and racism? The dippers and racism, what's that all about? Craig Forrest, Andy, I can only say one thing I'm sure of. There will be less column inches about this than there was about Bernardo Silva. What are you thinking? Obviously, it's been a low today. How much more will come in the future? I'm sure there'll be bits and pieces tomorrow and then pretty much forgotten about. Bernardo gets threatened with a ban and these lot go home and carry on with this behaviour. There you go, says it all. Cablar Soyuncu, Andy, I was in college today. Someone said I look too young for college. That's what I like. Brian Gardner, hi Andy. I think Southgate handled all well under pressure of what went on. I thought he did a very good job. You know, he's intelligent. He's a sensible guy. He chooses his words wisely. Just wish Greg Clark would have done something different last night, or something similar. Sorry, Carl. I look too young for things myself. I'm only 21. Yeah, Martin 21 going on 60. No, Martin 60 thinking he's 21. If I'm being honest. There you go, Martin. Right. What else? On to the next bit of news. So we are going to talk about the return, hopefully, the return of some of our players back into the starting lineup. And obviously, we're going to be talking about... oops, sorry, just jumped that up there. We're talking about the likes and return of Eric Garcia on here as well. Kevin De Bruyne coming back, and also the likes of Fernandinho, who will be returning hopefully and this weekend. And will he return back into his midfield role? Will Rodri be given a rest? Who knows? We'll wait and see what happens with that. So we'll see what they actually think about this, whether they will or they won't play this weekend. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Kevin De Bruyne is back in training, full training for City. We obviously have the likes of Fernandinho's been here, so he's not gone on any international duties. We've got the likes of John Stones back in training now, which is good news. We're going to talk about Eric Garcia next. And there's quite a few sort of bits of chit and chatter around the last 24 hours talking about whether Fernandinho, if John Stones is back, whether Fernandinho will actually play with John Stones or whether he goes back into his original position and maybe Rodri gets a rest. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, for me personally, I said it yesterday, I think Rodri's done really, really well so far this season in that position. Yes, nobody played well last week, but I think, personally, I would have dropped Rodri. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Rodri should be given a rest? Do you think Fernandinho should take back up that position again in his preferred role? Obviously, if John Stones comes back, he can play with Otamendi, or he could bring in the likes of a Garcia, or should he bring in a Kyle Walker into the centre-back role with John Stones? But then you're pairing two players who've not played together that much, and maybe play Cancelo at right back. So, I don't know, what are your thoughts? But it's great to have certainly Kevin De Bruyne back for one, because that might hopefully mean we can lose that slowness that in midfield that we've all been talking about lately. EF Cheeky Bugger 60. I'm 36, not 60. Yep, Southgate's class, says Kenwood. Steph says, hate having to slag UEFA off, as winning the UEFA Cup in the 81 as an Ipswich fan was amazing, but they got an agenda against English football, which began with the conspiracy of Heysel. Good point, very good point. Boris Johnson, a right cop. EF says 36, my bad pal, thought it was 63. Craig Forrest, Clark was the only Englishman that didn't handle last night with complete dignity and honour. Totally agree. Carl Blundell, Martin, if you look 21, lad, I have the physique of Anthony Joshua. Oh, ouch. Did Rodri play for Spain? He may play this weekend. I'm not sure whether he did or he didn't, if I'm honest. Busquets plays over Rodri for Spain. I mean, I don't know whether he was out with the squad. I'm not sure, because he was selected for the last one. I'm guessing he was actually selected for did Spain actually play? I'm not sure. Bingy One, guess he isn't a starter for his national team. What's good, fam, says Jay Fresh Stunner. Busquets is better, so I can understand why one of the most underrated players in the world. Kenwood says Walker, Garcia, Fernandinho, Mendy if fit. Rodri, De Bruyne and Bernardo again if fit. So, Kenwood, Garg. So you're going to pick You're going to pick Walker right back, Garcia and Fernandinho as centre backs, and Mendy if he's fit at left back, with Rodri holding De Bruyne and Bernardo ahead of him. So you're dropping David Silva, I'm guessing, which means who's your front three going to be? I'm guessing you're bringing back Mahrez, or are you going to play Sterling on the right, Aguero up front, and Gabby on the left? What about Jones and Stones and Fernandinho? Yeah, said that, Brian. I mean, it could be an option. I was just saying that there were a couple of articles around over the last 24 hours saying there's a possibility that Fernandinho may revert back to a holding role again. You reckon Mahrez, Sterling and Jesus? What, you're dropping Aguero? Aguero's one of those that needs to play into form for me. But he could do, absolutely. Like I said, so difficult to work out who Pep Guardiola will pick. You just never know week in, week out, for being honest. For the time being, Andy, yeah, maybe he will. I see you've got Sterling in the middle. Are you talking Gabby on one side, left, Sterling up front, and a false nine with Mahrez? Or are you thinking Gabby up front, Sterling left, Mahrez right? Sorry, but I would play Bellis before Garcia. I have to say, I'm probably with you, Craig Forrest, on that. Because of his height, and I think he's a little bit pacier physically than Garcia. Garcia is very technically gifted on the ball, though. Be nice for Pep to have more options. You think Jesus in the middle, okay. Breaking news, Pep has left City, joined Everton with Marco going the other way. Yeah, God forbid, Cal, that ever happened. So, what else have we got? Let's have a look. Talking about Eric Garcia, and basically, Eric Garcia has given an interview with AS, and he was asked the question whether it was right for him to join Manchester City, and obviously we know he signed from Barcelona for City in 2017, and he made his first appearance for City in December 2018, and we know also that Pep handed the 18-year-old his first Premier League appearance in September against Watford, and a few days later he played a full 90 minutes in the EFL Cup win over Preston. He's made it into the under-21 Spanish squad for the last two international breaks and started in the 1-1 friendly against Germany last week. And AS interviewed him and asked him what convinced him to leave La Liga winners for the English champions at the age of 16. And he said it was a complicated decision because it's a different country and language. He said the sports project they offered convinced me. He also went on to say, I think time will tell whether it was, he was asked whether it was the right decision to join Man City. He said, but so far I am very happy. I am enjoying opportunities that I did not expect at first. At the moment, I am very happy. On the possibility of returning to Spain, he said, at the moment, I'm very happy in Manchester and I still have 2 years left of contract. I still have 2 years of contract left. And despite being 18, the City player has been promoted to the under-21 Spanish national team instead of featuring for the under-19s. And Garcia was left surprised over his recent call-ups. And he said, being in the pre-list for me was already a surprise and a joy because I would usually have to be with the under-19s, and to be able to be with the under-21s is one step closer to the first team. The simple fact is, being in the pre-list was a satisfaction for me, and to make it to the squad was something spectacular. So Garcia seems like he's on a level. He seems like he understands the fact that he might not be starting every week or in every game for Man City. He knows that it's a natural progression. The fact that he's just overjoyed at the fact he's in the under-21 Spanish national team rather than the under-19s, which is his age level, shows that he's objective. He's realistic with his objectives, let's say, for the future. So I think he'll bide his time. He's got, like I said, he's got 2 years left on his contract, so we'll see what happens with him. Let's have a look back at your comments. Manchester's finest. Bellis is a future Man City captain, mark my words. He's an exceptionally gifted young kid, and who knows, let's wait and see. Pep to leave City and Jose take over. Oh my God, you're joking, no chance. City should buy Fatty, that kid is something special. Carl says, smart kid, wise beyond his years. He is. So yeah, very on a level. Hi, Carl says, Carl. Don Wyman, got to play Foden. We will lose him if we're not careful. Yeah, I think he'll play more games. Certainly, we know that David Silva is leaving at the end of the season. So I think as David Silva starts needing a rest, or Pep thinks this is the time now, or the medical staff think, right, he's hitting that orange, that red level, it's time for him to be rested for a couple of games. I think then Foden will play. Footy mad guys, your mate knows me. Ask about TV show episodes. Your mate knows me. Ask him about TV show episodes. I don't know who you're talking to there, mate. Ivor's on. Evening, folks. Just in from a superb day on the class. Yeah, nice sunny day for you today, Ivor. So, hope you had a great day, mate. Footy mad guys, I play for City. Footy mad guys, Foden for England. Your mate knows me. Ask him about TV show episodes. You'll have to give me some more clue, mate. And you play for City. What position? What age group? Kenwood Garcia, there's something special about that boy. Reminds me of a young Cannavaro. He's technically very, very good. Kenwood, very, very good. What worries me, though, is just the height. And I think as long as we've got somebody of height next to him and they can get some game time together, then that'll certainly help without shadow of a doubt. Fatty plays for Barca, been so good this season. Who's the guy talking about when he said fat kid? He's talking about Fatty, mate. Carl. Hey, Carl, I always enjoy your comments. Carl, Andy, I watched the win the UEFA Champions League, so focused on it. Maybe, Carl, if we lose another game and we go 11 points behind, maybe the full focus will be keeping a top 4 place or finishing as high as we can and everything all in for the Champions League and the cup competitions. Who knows? Alex is on. Hi, Andy. I hope I'm not too late. The racial abuse thing is nothing new to me. Unfortunately, the Balkan mindset is like that. It is, sadly, and I'm talking in generalised terms, but I've got lots of really nice friends out in Eastern Europe, and they're not like that at all. They're certainly not like that to me and from what I know of them. No, Noah, that's how you get sick. Carl says, Fat is a left winger and right winger, very talented he is. But anyway, listen guys, it's just a quick one today. I was going to talk about Soyuncu, but it's just more rumour garbage if I'm being honest with you. But anyway, give us your comments below. Don't forget, go and watch the FIFA 20 episode that was put out this morning. And have a great evening. Keep commenting below. Don't forget, we're nearly at the 10,000. And this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful evening. And I'll see you soon.